We are now learning more about the pilot whose deadly helicopter crash onto a roof of a New York City skyscraper briefly stirred fears of a 9/11 style attack. Tim McCormack was the only person on board the private helicopter yesterday. He was unfortunately killed when the chopper slammed down on a high-rise near Trump Tower and Times Square, and then it burst into flames. Photos show the burned debris.
No one in the office tower or on the ground was hurt in the crash. New York's governor said there is no indication of terrorism. CTM national correspondent Jericka Duncan is outside the building where it happened. Jericka, this crash certainly unnerved people here in this city.
Absolutely, and for good reason when you think of 9/11, and of course for the people who were inside and said that the building literally shook when that helicopter landed here, that forced to evacuate. People were forced to evacuate just blocks away from Times Square. But the question remains this morning, why was that pilot flying in such poor weather conditions and in restricted airspace? Hundreds of feet above New York City, investigators are combing through the wreckage of Monday's deadly helicopter crash, trying to answer what happened.
There's a helicopter on the roof of the location at this time.
A massive emergency response inundated Midtown Manhattan minutes after the helicopter came down on the roof of the 54-story AXA Equitable building. Workers forced to evacuate described the feelings of anxiety inside.
At the time, you heard like a plane maybe crashed. There were fears that like maybe something like 9/11 happened.
Nicholas Estevez was outside when he says he found this piece of debris.
I saw people running like crazy out of the building and people running everywhere.
The helicopter took off from a heliport along New York's East River at about 1:32 p.m. It was believed to be headed to its home airport in Linden, New Jersey. But 11 minutes after takeoff, the Augusta A109E helicopter crashed into the top of the 750-foot-tall skyscraper. At the time, the roof of the building was reportedly the same height as the cloud ceiling. New York's mayor says the NYPD believes this video shows the helicopter flying erratically after takeoff, rising, then dramatically diving before it eventually flies toward Manhattan through the clouds.
It looked like very erratic actions by a pilot in control. I'm having trouble following why he would have gone back up over Midtown Manhattan if his destination was well to the south in New Jersey. Something doesn't follow here.
After President Trump took office, a flight restriction banned aircraft from flying below 3,000 feet within a 1-mile radius of Trump Tower, which is just blocks away from the crash site. The pilot, Tim McCormack, was a former fire chief in upstate New York with 15 years of flying experience, according to FAA records. Sources tell our New York City station WCBS that McCormack actually radioed he was in trouble before that crash. And as a result of what happened, Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney, who represents this district, is now calling for a ban on all non-essential helicopters flying over Manhattan. Tony?
Jericka, thank you. Veteran pilot, former fire chief upstate. It may be that he was trying to prevent harm in landing on that.
It's possible. As she pointed out, the cloud cover yesterday was very low in the city. You couldn't see a lot of the tops of the building, so you do wonder what he was doing up there.
I heard one report that said they thought he was trying to avoid Times Square, that he was clearly in trouble. He knew he was in trouble, and he was just trying to get down as quickly and safely as he could.
Answers forthcoming, I
hope. Exactly.
Thank you very much.